Alright class, so today I'm going to show you the pen tool. So before I go into the pen tool, just some quick tools that we've gone over. Your move tool, your direct selection tool. We had gone over the shape tool, the differences between the paint and blob brush. Now I'd like to go over the pen tool with you. Okay, so you have your pen tool. Then you have your add pen tool, delete, and then you have your anchor point tool, which I'll explain to you. You also have your curvature tool, which I will explain to you as well. So the pen tool is a great way to create custom shapes. So just like you have your shape tool, which creates simple shapes, you have your pen tool, which creates custom shapes that can be created for illustrations such as this one or animations, all using the pen tool. Or for simple logo designs like the Pepsi logo or the Coca-Cola logo. I'm just thinking offhand of images that have curvilinear lines. Most likely use the pen tool to create that. The pen tool is not easy to use, but once you get used to it, it's actually one of the best tools. Love using it. Okay, so the pen tool works just like the shape tool, where you have your fill color here, and then you have your outline color over here. So if you don't want it outlined, you can turn your outline off. If you would like it outlined, you can turn your outline on. If you want it filled or not filled, you can obviously choose your selection of color. So I guess I'll go with a blue fill and a dark blue outline. I'll make my outline a little bit bigger for this. So if I wanted to create a shape with just linear lines, straight lines, it's pretty simple. All you're going to do is click and let go, and you're going to have your line segment that's being created. And then every time you click or select, it's going to create a point, okay? And you're going to have line segments attached, okay? So if I wanted to somehow create a very linear shape, I can do so by just clicking to create line segments. Wherever you start, you must end. So you can see that I started at this point, rotated all the way around as I was talking, and ended at that point. And now I have my shape. I can always go back and change the color of the shape if I wanted to, right? There's no reason to keep it one color and have to restart it. Another thing I can do is if I decide that I want to add a curved line into this shape, what I can do is use my anchor point tool. So if I go down to my anchor point tool, which is underneath your pen tool. So if you hold down your pen tool, you have all these other options, which I'll go over with you. But you have your anchor point tool. So if I click on the anchor point tool and click on one of the line segments and pull out, it's going to create a nice curved line for you with points that you can move, right? So these are anchor bars, right? So you have your points, anchor points, and you have anchor bars that come up and off of the anchor points, right? Using my direct selection tool, right, your move tool will move the actual shape. Your direct selection tool will move each specific point, right? So we did talk a little bit about this in Animate, because Animate has similar features, but these are in Illustrator, I feel like, are better for detailed drawings and images that you'd like to create. If I wanted to get rid of a point, I can hold down the pen tool and go to delete anchor point, and it will delete a point. If I wanted to add a point, I can add an anchor point anywhere that I would like to and move it. But the only way that you're going to get a straight line is if you use your anchor point tool to pull up from that. Okay, so you can use all of these together. So this is a great tool to use for creating shapes. Let's say you wanted to create like a spaceship, or I don't know, I'm just looking at this as if, anything, a person, parts of a car that you're creating, or a house, or so forth. Great tools to use. All right, so that would be all the features of the pen tool. Now, I guess the curvature tool kind of works the same way, but it's just, I guess, easier for creating like curved lines. So if I click and let go, it's going to automatically create this nice curve to it, right? So I click let go. So to me, I guess this tool, I never really use this tool that much since it's a newer tool in Illustrator, but good for creating shapes that are curved. Right, and you can also add points to it. So if I wanted to use my add anchor point, any of these tools that I'm using together, you can add points to and so forth. So that would be the curvature tool. Okay, and just to kind of backtrack a little bit, these are shapes that I'm creating, but I can also obviously create shapes using my shape tool. And I can also create shapes using my blob brush tool. So if I wanted to create a really random shape, right, color it in, that would also be a shape, right? So I have, even though the color is determined really separately, so I can even add an outline to it too here. See, there we go, it looks just like that. So here I have a shape using my pen tool, shape using my curvature pen tool, a shape using my shape tool, and a shape using my blob brush tool, right? So these are all different ways that you can create shapes when you're coming up with ideas for your animations. All right, so you really want to make sure that you get how to use those tools. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Sorry, I'm thinking here. It's late at night as I'm doing this. Trying to think about what I want to show you. So the pen tool. So another thing about the pen tool is you can create curvilinear lines too, just like you can use your curvature line to create curvilinear lines. But instead of just clicking and letting go, right, that creates like a linear shape. What you want to do is click down and pull. Okay, pull out your anchor bars. So pull them out just a little bit, let go, and when you let go, you have this nice curved line that's being created. Okay. And if you notice, the curvature tool works very similar to this. And a new feature, obviously, in Illustrator. So you can use the pen tool that same way, or you can use the curvature tool and it will do the same thing, almost actually create a better circle for you. Okay, so again, obviously options for creating curved lines. So those are the tools I wanted to go over with you. So what is your task for this activity? What I'd like you to do right now is in Google Classroom, I posted this this file called pen tool basic shapes. All right, so what I want you to do is just have some fun and try to trace over at least 2 of them. And you don't have to use the same color, but I want to see that you can kind of get an idea of how to use the tool. So for instance, I'm going to try and do like one of them for you. So once you drag this picture into Illustrator, what you're going to want to do is just like you did with the robot picture, is lock this image, create a new file, and then trace over in the new file. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and try to trace over this shamrock here. All right, so I'm going to do that. Actually, think about what tool is probably the best one to use. And when I look at this, I feel like the pen tool might be my best bet. So I'm going to use my pen tool, and I'm going to go in, and these are curved lines. So I guess there are different approaches. I can click on each point, right? I'm not going to do the bottom here. I'm just going to kind of show you how I could do this top part, okay? And then I can go to my anchor point tool and click in the center of each of these and kind of pull it upward. Might actually be the best way. And I can also then from there add a few points to the bottom over here. Use my dark selection tool. Ooh, missed double. Okay. I'm going to add a few more actually. And take some of these points, it's hard for me to see this, and pull it downward. Okay, so I got that line. And that I like. So I might actually go in and add a point here, and then, whoops, I'm using my dark selection tool to do this. Using my dark selection tool, kind of pull that point in. Whoops. Okay. Now you can also use your arrows to nudge as well. Okay. I'm going to actually pull this down a little bit and pull these points down. Okay. So you can see I kind of did that fairly quickly. Make it green. You know, your task is to try and do it a little bit, obviously slower, take your time with it, but that would be using the pen tool, right? Now I could also go in, let's see, like down here, I'll do this one, thinking about what would be the best one, maybe using the curvature one, right? So I can click, let go, click, let go. Oops, I don't think I click, let go. Mine's going to be a little bit click, let go, a little bit off here. So you can see my shape's a little bit off, but that's fine. You can go back in and move your points. So I actually should have set my points up in around this area. But now you can take your anchor bars and kind of like move it and adjust it accordingly. So your anchor bars you can kind of push and pull depending on where you think you need them. I feel like that's pretty good. Okay, and now I can go ahead and possibly add some more points. Add one there and here. Take my my dark selection tool, add some more points, pull this in, right? Okay, and there you go. So then I have my second shape. So what I'd like you to do now for this assignment is using more advanced tools than just your shape and your blob brush is try to use the pen tools to trace over some of these images that you see here. Okay, so if you have any questions, just let me know and I'd be glad to